Welcome to the Scandalous Scandal Recap, Season 4, Episode 20. I'm Larry Brown Jr. I wasn't stabbed, but I just came back to life like Jake came back to life. Jake's not dead. He yet lives. Everybody rejoice.
LBJ, let me just say, I missed my chance to be a prophetess. Because I didn't really think he was dead, LBJ. And I didn't say it last week, and I regret it.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I was thinking to myself after I watched it, I was like, that was just too easy of a death.
It was too easy.
And as glad as I was that someone said last week, I think on the YouTube comments, Jake from State Farm, I'm glad Jake from State Farm is gone.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't that glad that Jake was gone, but I was just like, this was just too good to be.
It was too easy, LBJ.
So as the week progressed, we rewatched Scandal here, and I was like, Jake's not dead.
LBJ, there was no way. It was so clearly that it was obvious that he was not dead.
Well, everybody, we're so glad you came. We're so glad you're here. We're so glad you joined us. Thanks for hanging on and watching Scandal. Tell a friend right now that the Scandal recap is on and live. I'm actually about to tweet the YouTube link because I didn't do it before we went live because there were a few technical things going on behind the scenes, but we are here and we're glad that you're here as well. Make sure you use the hashtag at the bottom of the screen. Scandal Recap is at the bottom of my screen and is at the bottom of Jania's screen, who's fixing her hair right now. And we'll enjoy this conversation with you as we always do. Feel free to utilize the Q&A or the Google Plus page or the YouTube comments. We're here. If you have our cell phone numbers, text us. We read text messages as well. Jania, we begin the episode with Jake coming back to life with Quinn, Robin Lindsay firing a shot in the air because she didn't know what was going on. Huck comes in and Huck goes, boom, and Jake comes back to life. So you said you could have been a prophetess. What were you thinking, aside from you being a prophetess last week, about that moment in the show tonight?
Well, first of all, LBJ, I couldn't even really enjoy it as much as I wanted to because I was so upset with myself about not taking the opportunity to be 100% right on this web chat. So I was sitting there the whole time like, So anyway, after I got over myself, LBJ, I was in shock because once again, Huck has revealed to us another magical skill in his arsenal, which is to literally just revive people. Literally, he touched Jake's forehead. Jake is laying on the table, LBJ, after having just been stabbed the night before by Olivia's jump-off, secret B613. What's his name even? Frank? I can't even remember his name.
Russell.
Secret jump-off Russell has stabbed Jake, and we're heartbroken. LBJ, we thought perhaps that he was gone and he had left us forever. We had tipped a 40 and everything, but no, he was not dead, LBJ. Quinn comes in, she's shocked to death, she's frantic. Huck comes in the door. Quinn fires off a warning shot because she's now protecting her friend laying there dying on the table. And Huck comes over, touches Jake's forehead and says, well, he's still warm. Let's see if he's warming up. He rears back LBJ, takes his fist, bangs Jake on the chest, and literally revived him, kept that heart pumping, brought him back to life, LBJ. Jake takes the gas. Jake, in magical Scandal fashion, 15 other people are there on the scene within 5 minutes.
It's so good. It was so good. Yolanda Baker,
so good.
In the Q&A, she says right out the gate, she said, only Shonda can make the dead. Again, only Shonda could do something.
Thank you, Yolanda Baker.
While I was watching tonight, I was saying to myself, oh, Livy, don't you weep, and oh, Quinn, don't you moan. Because Jake is yet alive. He's yet alive.
He is yet alive. LBJ, it was so good.
It was so good. So then we turned from what's going on in OPA. Olivia comes in and she gathers everyone and she's just like in like fixer saver mode, like, oh my God, we got to fix this whole thing. We got to get Jake some help. And then in the midst of them trying to get Jake this help, Charlie's like, oh good, I know a low key down low guy who can say, hey, look, we can come here on the low and I can fix you up. And but I can fix you up because Charlie knows that this guy could fix Jake because this guy fixed Charlie. We found out in that scene. But while they were there and Jake was getting fixed, Homeboy was like, "Look, I need you to help me out. I got this girl who needs some help, and she's a Russian just like I am, and they're looking for her, and I need you to save her life." So he's like, "You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. I help your friend, you help my friend." And Olivia has to go into fixing mode. Now we see a little bit of Olivia fixing this episode, but the fixing got so messy and grimy toward the end of the episode, Janiyah. And while I'm talking about the guy who the low key in the gutter surgeon, let me just say how awesome it was to find out that yet again, Olivia Pope knows another language. She speaks Russian. She was standing there and talking. I mean, the two guys were talking back and forth, Charlie and the guy. And Charlie's like, the guy is saying to Charlie, she looks familiar. Like, why do I know? Is she a TV personality? He's like, Olivia comes in Russian, like, and she's like, yeah, I'm what you call a fair. I was like, Olivia Pope.
LBJ, do you speak Russian too? That was amazing.
Yes, I speak Google Hangout.
You're very good. You're very good. That's very exciting. LBJ, this was such an exciting twist. Already we as viewers are shocked and amazed that the underground can just pull doctors out of their hats whenever they want. This Russian guy, he comes from literally an hour away, LBJ, with a little bag and apparently a vehicle full of everything you need to save a man who has been stabbed multiple times and is hanging on for dear life. He literally, LBJ, creates a full surgical room right there, LBJ, in some abandoned warehouse. It was amazing, LBJ, to watch this whole thing happen. And the other thing we have to call out about this whole thing is that the reason Jake couldn't go to a hospital, LBJ, was because they didn't want him on the grid. They wanted Command to think that Jake was dead, LBJ. Were they successful, LBJ, in making Command think he was dead? We'll talk about that.
Absolutely not. They were not successful in making
They were not, LBJ.
Man, let it be known. He said, "Be it known this day." He gave him an epic monologue. He said to him, "Be it known this day, you did not do your job, because if you did your job, my phone would be ringing off the hook with my daughter. And my daughter, who is ride or die for Jake, would have been on my telephone, and she would have been spewing venom. She would have been spewing venom. Is Jake Ballard dead? Is Jake Ballard dead? Boss, he is not dead. If he were dead, if he were really dead, I would have found myself on the other line of the phone with my daughter, filled with venom, etc., 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 etc." And he says, "And now my daughter is underground because Jake Ballard is alive." Find him and cut the thread. I was just like, really dead. You have to give the Rowan Pope monologue. Like, you have to start off like this. You have to get in their face. You have to get real low. You have to go in their face real hard. And that's the Rowan Pope monologue.
LBJ, once again, you have given the people what they want, which is the LBJ impression of Command. We love it, LBJ, because you are so good. We really enjoyed that. We thank you for that, LBJ.
But wait, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. But look, why is Kat on the Google Plus page saying, "I can't express how disappointed I was that Jake was alive"? Kat Harlem is not feeling Jake's character like not at all. What do you think? Do you think that it's time for Jake to go? Are you glad Jake is still alive? I mean, you seem to kind of be in the middle. That's what I'm.
You're right, LBJ. I do go back and forth. Because through all of this, I will say that Jake has been the one that I think has loved Olivia with the purest of intentions. At the end of the day, Fitz was still, trying to, really, escape from his life, whereas I think Jake loved Olivia more than he was trying to escape. And so I'm sorry, I still feel like Jake's love for Olivia is more sincere than Fitz's love ever was. But why do I go back and forth about Jake? Because now he's a barrier between Olivia and Marcus. That's another storyline we can talk about later, which is my fantasy storyline of Olivia and Marcus falling in love. But that's not going to happen if Jake is sitting there in the way, in the shadows, with his loving shenanigans. So those are my mixed emotions about Jake, LBJ. But the truth is, tonight's episode, when watching Jake laying there bloody, hanging on for dear life, it was very emotional for me. I mean, we're very attached to Jake, LBJ. And all of this resting in the hands of this man that we don't know whether we can trust him or not. We know that him saving Jake is completely tied to whether or not Olivia can accomplish this favor that he's asked, LBJ. And what did you think of that storyline? This whole KGB not dead, you're still in it, girlfriend.
Wait, say that again. What's my question about what's my thought about what again?
About the KGB storyline, about the fact that, this woman thought that she was retired, but guess what? She wasn't, LBJ.
Oh yeah, that to me, I could have done without that, because I was just like, can she really try to fix something greater? But I understood why that storyline was put into the script. Like, we needed something for Rowan to do to show Olivia that he meant business with everything. I mean, this woman, we met her randomly living in probably upper Northwest Washington, D.C., maybe even Bethesda, Maryland area, but it's like a D.C. home. And she's saying she was a Russian spy who also killed people. Her code name was Black Sable. Her name was Mary Peterson, who loved to make Russian spice cookies. She ended up settling in Wisconsin, told her grandkids that her neighbor was Russian and taught her how to make this cookie and everything. And it was a cute storyline, but to me, I knew that the woman was going to die by the end of the episode or before the season was over. And if she didn't die, she was going to play a role that was a greater role that dealt with some B613 White House stuff that was going to come into play. I'm kind of glad that we saw Mary Peterson and her grandkids and everything come and go. I'm sad that they went out the way that they did. Olivia clearly was mortified by the way they went in, because she gave the lip quiver, not because of lust or sex, but Olivia gave the lip quiver because she could not stand to see the gruesome scene of Mary Peterson, Black Sable, assassinated or murdered with her grandchildren right on the sofa in her lap. That was atrocious. But it was something that we needed to see so that Olivia could see that Daddy meant business. And we can talk about that a little bit later. But I understood why that storyline was placed into the thing. What I do want to bring up, though, from that story, if you recall, there's going to be some fallout from this, because there's someone who was the deputy of like the attorney general or something, like, not the attorney general, but it's the deputy of somebody, and they are a Russian spy as well. I wrote it in my notes and I can't find it right now, but there is someone who is the Russian spy who's the deputy of someone. And maybe it could have been the girl who was like B613 or something like that. I don't know, but there's somebody else. There's some residue of this storyline that we're going to see later in the show before it's over.
LBJ, you're so right. I mean, they did give us a quick flash of that other KGB agent that's waiting there in the wings. LBJ, I thought it was just so interesting, though, LBJ, and I don't want to slip into a takeaway here, but LBJ, literally, this woman, Black Sable, she was known, LBJ, in her youth. She was known for being a cold-blooded killer. LBJ, she was fleeing from a life of poverty. She had grown up so hungry, her loved ones were dying just of hunger, LBJ. And just to survive, just to have any life at all, she chose life as a spy, LBJ. She comes to the United States. She pretends to be an American, but what she's really doing is killing on command. LBJ, she literally is living her entire life with this secret identity. And finally, government shakeups, things transpire, life occurs, countries come, go, fall, rise. LBJ, she stops getting calls. She goes into retirement, LBJ. She starts to build a life. She marries. She has a daughter. She has grandchildren. She's picked up religion. LBJ, she's built an entire life, only to see this history come back and haunt her. She's called into duty, LBJ. Dan Blakemore in the chat said the grandma KGB agent got pulled back into life like Michael Corleone in Godfather 3. It was so bananas, LBJ. Just if you could just imagine, LBJ, literally 27 years. And then all of a sudden, not only is she called back into duty, but called back into duty to kill someone. So, I mean, I just felt like this was a really heart-wrenching storyline. I appreciated it. You know, you never want, we're always so feeling mixed emotions when Olivia is helping someone who's technically a bad guy. But at the end of the day, I wanted that grandma to live. And LBJ, I was sad. I was so heartbroken. I think I probably shed a tear, LBJ, when I saw her sitting there dead, LBJ, with her poor little grandchildren at the hands of who? Papa Pope. I wasn't ready.
Let me just say, Janiyah, that I feel like reflecting back to one of my my middle school teachers who used to do like this to the class, and he would rub his fingers together and he would say, "Hey class, do you know what this is? Do you know what this is?" And we were like, "No, what?" He'd be like, "This is world's smallest violin." And world's smallest violin is you really got connected to that woman's story. Wow.
Oh, it was so sad, LBJ.
The only thing I drew from her story, Janiyah, was the fact that you went through this whole list of her accomplishments since she walked away from the dark side. And what you failed to mention was that she learned basic subject-verb conjugation as related to the English language, because her friend didn't quite get it. He was saying, he's like, your friend lucky and unlucky. You don't pay like you say, so I go. He was talking like that the entire time to Olivia and friends. And that's what I gathered from that whole thing. She learned subject-verb conjugation. So take that, if you will.
All right, you go ahead and marginalize her story, LBJ. You go right ahead. All right? I just want to let you know, Mary Peterson, rest in peace, girlfriend. Rest in peace. LBJ,
the Russian spy is the Deputy Undersecretary of Defense of the U.S. So put a pin in that, folks. We heard that in the script tonight. There's a Russian spy who was the Deputy Undersecretary of Defense of the United States. Keep that in mind. That probably will come back and haunt us later in the show. Go, you were saying something to me?
No, I don't remember at all what it was. So.
So you don't remember. If you don't remember, I've got something. Let's talk about Mellie and her campaign for Senate in Virginia, Janiyah.
Yes.
We saw a clashing of the titans, so to speak, with Gabby Abbey Red here and Lizzie Bear DeGeneres strategizing for some way to really kick off this campaign for Melody Grant. And they were at an impasse. And while they're at this impasse, they're going back and forth, then back and forth, then back and forth, then back, and back and forth, then back and forth. And they eventually found a way to present the story and kick off the campaign. And I thought it was pretty cool to see how, Mellie and Fitz were kind of sitting there at the mercy of these two experts, but they weren't Olivia Pope experts. And we got to see more of the value of an Olivia Pope character, of Olivia's work, of Olivia's commitment to this family. I thought that was one of the things that I pulled out from that moment there. What did you think about Mellie and her campaign and all the preparations for the campaign?
Well, LBJ, I have to say, I've known in my brain that Olivia was running, but this is the first episode where I think I actually accepted it in my heart and in my soul. For some reason, I think I did.
Olivia was running.
I mean, Mellie, I'm sorry. Now that would really be something.
Right.
For some reason, I just wasn't actually grasping onto this truth. I don't know. I just kind of felt like it was going to piddle away or something. LBJ, this is really happening. Mellie is actually running for office in Virginia. This is crazy. LBJ, one of the things that was really great to watch in this storyline, and great in the sense that it's a twist in the show, is Fitz really working so hard to have Mellie's back. Here we have all this controversy that's being stirred up by Sally Langston, who, listen, girlfriend, so many skeletons in your closet. I don't know how you get dressed in the morning. She's literally stirring up all this controversy about Mellie, really forsaking her job as first lady by running for office and creating all these conflicts of interest, yada, yada, yada. Sally Langston, first of all, get over yourself. Okay. Hashtag let it go, number one. But LBJ, to watch Fitz really want to go to the mats for Mellie, there's a change in that relationship, and that's worth noting.
Yeah, it is worth noting. It's totally worth noting. And it's also worth noting that they didn't even want to go public with the storyline, the angle, the spin that Lizzie Bear take two. They didn't want to go with the spin that Lizzie Bear DeGeneres suggested by them stating that their marriage was over and they have opposing political viewpoints to really get those votes in Virginia. And it wasn't until Fitz went back to old homegirl over here, he put on that nectar factor and was like, hey, boo, I need your opinion, boo. Hey, boo, if you give me this opinion, then this might help us. This is what's going on, boo. Boo, I really need you right now. And boo was like, okay. This is what you do. I'm going to give you the answer. I am the fixer, and I'm going to come in. I'm going to end this call by saying good night and hang up the telephone on you. And that's what Boo did to Fitz on Scandal tonight. And that was that.
LBJ, first of all, since you called out Nectar, I have to call out Dan Blakemore in the chat, who said, been a while since we had a Nectar-free episode, ... Dan Blakemore, you are mistaken, because as LBJ just said, some nectar flowed right through that phone line, right between Fitz and Olivia. The craziest thing about that conversation, though, LBJ, you know, as much as that undercurrent, that nectar undercurrent is still there, Fitz really called Olivia on a very practical matter. He literally called up the best spin doctor that he knows and asked for help making a spin, LBJ. He wasn't calling to be super flirtatious. He wasn't calling to try to set up a superheated rendezvous. He was calling for help, LBJ. And he even, LBJ, in his language, as he was talking to her, he really kind of gave her a little slap in the face, talking about he wants to help Mellie so that he can right past wrongs. He said something like, trying to make up for the sins of my past. Did you just call up your sins of the past on the phone to help make up for your sins of the past? You know what, Fitz? I have to say, he is a lost cause. But it is just, again, LBJ, something's happening with Fitz and Mellie.
Yes, I don't know. Something's happening between Fitz and Mellie. I don't know. But I have to when you mention Fitz not wanting to flirt. He wanted more from that call because he was going beyond the business of the telephone call. And that's what made Olivia say, good night. And she slammed it, like she pushed it at the same time while he was saying that. So he did want something. But I want to take a step back, Janiyah, and I want to take a moment to acknowledge someone that I really, really appreciate on Scandal. And that's good old Sally Langston. There is nobody like Sally Langston when it comes to Scandal. The way that Sally Langston presents herself, the Liberty Republic, the Liberty, I think it's called the Liberty Report or the Liberty Republic. It's Liberty Report.
The Liberty Report, yeah.
The Liberty Report, as she's talking about Mellie, and she's just in all her Sally Langston-ness, sitting there talking about Mellie, and she turns and looks at the big monitor, and she turns back and looks at the people and says, well, what do you think about that for a First Lady? Or would you have that for a First Lady as your governor here in the state of Virginia? You know, is that illegal vomit-inducing? That she has all these Sally Langston-isms that I really appreciated this entire time. And I miss Sally Langston, not necessarily in the White House, but I miss her on the show. I always appreciate when Sally makes an appearance on the show. And I will have to say, once Cyrus went on the show, so everybody, if you didn't watch, if you're using this to catch up on the show, there was a moment in the strategizing for the campaign where they said, hey, we've got to get someone to go and talk to Sally Langston's audience. Sally Langston's audience will skew. We can't go in there and talk about women in politics with a woman. We need a man to go talk about women in politics.
Right.
This man who ended up being Cyrus Bean to go on the air and talk about women in politics, specifically Mellie Grant, on Sally Langston's show, The Liberty Report. Cyrus goes on Sally's show, and she's like, oh, Cyrus, I'm so glad you're here. And he's like, well, Sally, Cyrus is sitting in the chair chilling, like, I don't really want to be here. He's like slouching and everything, like, hey, I'm glad. Thank you for having me on the show. So, Cyrus, tell me, do you want to run for Senate, Cyrus? I see it in your eyes. Cameraman, zoom in on Cyrus's eyes. Cyrus wants to run for Senate. I was looking to the camera so we could see into your eyes. And so she's doing all this talking and everything. Cyrus is like, no, wait. Let me call this bluff a bluff. I don't want to run for Senate. This woman is doing a great job. She is a mother. She's the first lady, but she also wants to work. And she wants to work like you worked, Sally. And you worked. You remember you worked, Sally, before you quit your job as the vice president of America?
Called her right out.
Called her out. And so then she said something else to him, and he was just like, well, I mean, I don't know. Remember, he said, remember Daniel Langston did this and the other. It was like the kibosh on the entire thing. He mentioned his husband's name. And Sally was like, well, that's all for now. Thank you for tuning in. The interview was over. It was so good.
LBJ, D. Hill, PH Dunn 15 said, Cyrus and Sally were pure joy tonight. And LBJ, they totally were. The thing that Cyrus said about her husband that shut her up completely was he basically said, well, Sally, if you had run for president and you won, would you have asked your husband to stay home and not work? LBJ, not only did he mention the man that, let's call it out what happened, the man that she killed, okay, that he helped cover up the murder, he also dropped the mic, LBJ, and literally shut her completely down with her hypocrisy. He literally just shoved her directly off her high horse. She's now on the ground. The horse has run down the road. Sally Langston sitting there, pie on her face, crow in her mouth, and she literally just ended the show, LBJ. It was priceless. Loved it.
Yeah. So Lisa Chimiola, I think that's the way you pronounce him, Chimiola. Chimiola. Chimiola is saying she was beginning to wonder if Mellie's ambition was finally going to lead to their divorce. I don't think, Lisa, that we are ever going to see a divorce on Scandal between these two people in the White House until they leave the White House, and then we might see some kind of tension in the Grant household. I don't.
But let me say, Lisa, I am so happy you said that because I had the same thought, LBJ. When Lizzie Bear DeGeneres raised that option, when she put that option out there that, you could distance yourself. Was it Lizzie Bear? No, it was Red. It was Gabby Abby Red that said, you could distance yourself. You could distance yourself, Fitz, from your wife. We could act like there's discord in the household. LBJ, there was a beat there where we all thought they were going to take that option. We all thought it. We all thought it.
You're right. I agree.
And it was Mellie. It wasn't Fitz who said, oh, no, that's a super horrible idea. I would never want to, tell the world there's discord in our home. It was Mellie who said, oh, no. We came in together. We're going out together. That was an interesting little beat there, LBJ, because I think we all thought, oh my gosh, just in that little instant, is this now Olivia's window opening yet again to get her man? The answer is no. That window remains closed.
It does. But before we close this window on the conversation, I just want to say this, Janiyah. Tonight on my Twitter, I had to give a shout out to one of the facets of the First Lady on Scandal. In the First Lady on the White House, because Olivia's the First Lady of Scandal, but there's a number 2, and that's Mellie. And Sally Langston on the Liberty Report, who Candace Brown actually says in the Q&A, Candace says that, I would actually watch the Liberty Report if it was a real show. Hilarious. So Candace says that in the Q&A, but I wanted to shout out from the Liberty Report tonight that Sally mentioned what goes on in the White House. Did you pick this up where I'm going, Janiyah? And she said, she's in the White House and she does this. She has a garden and she's wearing the finery in America from the finest designers in America. And she's like, well, women wear that all the time. Sally, like, what are you talking about? She said, well, she has a private chef and I've tasted that fried chicken. Here we go with fried chicken Mellie again. Fried chicken Mellie.
Yes.
It really, really, really made me want to say, I need to get to the White House to taste this fried chicken. It's like 1,000 grannies came together in heaven and did fried chicken in the White House because it is some epic fried chicken going down in the White House. Who knew that the White House had great fried chicken?
LBJ.
Fried chicken.
Glenda Wyndham in the chat said Shonda Rhimes and her team loves fried chicken. It's true,
Yes.
LBJ. Why does it keep coming up? What is happening in this kitchen?
I'm more than what they're writing. I guess when they're writing this show or something, they're like, somebody go put an order in for that fried chicken. Eating fried chicken. I don't know, Janiyah. I don't know.
It's so good. It's so good to be LBJ. You know what, though? I will say, Sally Langston, I didn't realize that I would have missed her character if she had just left the show. But LBJ, when she comes back, I am happy she's there. And I think I would have missed her, LBJ. We needed that person who's just out there in the left-hand side, just jabbing at us, just literally provoking arguments and creating little shenanigans in an ongoing way. I appreciate her character. I appreciate what she adds to the show. And I'm happy she keeps coming back. And it's going to be interesting to watch Sally as she monitors Mellie's campaign, because again, it's really happening, LBJ. And we have to just close out this portion of the recap by looking at how successful Olivia's tactic was. Olivia's advice to Fitz and to the campaign was, hey, clearly there is a conflict of interest here. This would be, someone in the legislative branch sleeping with the executive branch. Can't get around that. She said, you know what? Play it up. Take it right to Virginia. Forget what the rest of the country thinks. Forget what the rest of the world thinks, and play it up. And that's exactly what Mellie did. We see Mellie sitting there at the podium, red, white, and blue, campaigning. And she says, oh, yes, not only will I canoodle with my husband and share, my priorities, with him, he's going to share his with me, and totally played it up. It was completely successful, LBJ. So much so that there's a point later in the episode where everyone just kind of acknowledges, you know what? Mellie very well may win.
Yeah. Mellie very well may win, Janiyah. But lest we forget, Janiyah, last week's episode when we were talking about the current vice president and her potential aspirations for the White House or some other political office. I think Mellie's got this whole Senate race in the bag. We don't have to worry about that. If she doesn't win, it's going to be a greater something. It's going to be like they're going to weave in the storyline of Mellie losing in the midst of somebody dying or something being blown up by B613 by the time the season finale rolls around. Oh, by the way, so we have the correct pronunciation of Lisa's name. Lisa, by the way, thank you so much for joining us and watching and chiming in the Q&A. This is our first time having you, I believe. And Lisa,
welcome, Lisa.
Yes, in reply to me trying to pronounce her last name, Lisa says, haha, no, it's Shmola, like the intro of Laverne and Shirley. So thank you so much.
I love that.
Yes, so thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining. And let me just have a complete tangent. I love when people give you a little mnemonic to help you remember their name. Oh, you want to hear what mine is? I'm glad you asked. So when people can't remember how to pronounce my name, I go like this. It's Janiyah, like Shania Twain. People love it. They eat it up. LBJ, it works every time. And they're like, Janiyah, like Shania. And they love it. They love it, LBJ.
When I met Janiyah like years ago, everybody, she is not telling she's not telling a tale. That is exactly what she says. She says that exact thing. And I was just like, really? Like, telling people her name is like Janiyah, but Janiyah.
I know.
Then, wait, and we're going to tell another story too. And then Janiyah, at one point, so we used to help at our school, and we used to have like nicknames. And so one year when Sandra Bullock and Regina King had the whole Miss Congeniality.
Oh no, business on the street.
Janiyah took her name. Her name was Miss Con, like all lowercase, and then all caps Janiyah Latif. So she was Miss Congeniality, but all caps Janiyah in her name.
I'm very friendly. I'm very friendly, LBJ. Facts are facts. Okay.
Oh man, so much for a tangent. That was so random and such a tangent.
Okay, sorry.
While we're
back to the show.
Lane, though, let me go back to my remembrance and go back to tonight's episode of Scandal, Janiyah, to talk about what really was going down in this underground surgical room in this podunk warehouse somewhere in the bowels of the justice system.
It's always in the bowels. It's always in the bowels of justice.
Always in the bowels of justice. And Russell is on the bed trying yet again to take Jake Ballard out. Remember, Russell after he cockily sat down in front of Rowan Pope, sipping Scott, stood in front of him the first time, and he's like, Rowan Pope, Jake Ballard's dead. He's like, no, he's not dead. This and the other, and it's like, he's like, but dad, yes, he is. He's like, no, he's and Rowan Pope he pulled out a gun. I don't know, it was like, boop, and like just popped him in the arm, right? So at this point, Olivia's still caring for Russell, wondering what's going on with her new love interest. He is in the room with them, with all that's going on. He hears what Olivia's plan is and somehow relays that information back to Olivia's dad, even after Olivia took his burner phone and stomped on it, did everything else with it. After Olivia went to the butcher shop to get the guy on her side to do the favor by taking out her father, Command, after all of that has transpired, Russell has now heard a bit of this plan and has related back to Rowan Pope, and Jake. And then Russell again, Janiyah, makes an attempt on Jake Ballard's life, and what happened? He failed.
Yes.
Yet again, I'm like, Russell, dude, like, this is not a good look for you. You are not making good on B613's commands as it relates to carrying out the mission, man. What's really going on? Should you have stayed an extra day in training? Should they have given you that D when you needed when you begged them for a seat so you could graduate out of B613 school? I don't know.
Or LBJ.
A monologue in my head. I did like a Rowan Pope monologue in my head about why Russell once again failed on a B613. I'm trying to live like Rowan Pope now.
LBJ, all I could think the whole time was, that nectar slowing down reflexes. LBJ, he's falling. She got another one, LBJ. He's a goner.
Yes, he is a goner.
He is going down.
And he is failing missions left and right. So much so that he ended right back up in the bed at the end of the episode with Olivia, and he's those fingers running down my body, and you're feeling all of this, and you're feeling all of that, and they're going back, and he's just like, he's there with his eyes closed, and Olivia pulled out the pistol, Janiyah. I was like, go to the dark side. Go to the dark side, Olivia.
Yes, Linda Wyndham said that ending was priceless. Love it. It was, LBJ. To look at Olivia, she's there in her slinky nightgown, as usual, hair done to the T. She is literally straddling this man, LBJ. She's straddling him, and in the good way. LBJ, he is sitting there thinking, he's thinking, oh yes. He's thinking, oh yes, I've got her good. I've got this one wrapped right around my finger. My command is going to be so proud of me. He's rejoicing. Not only is he going to get the goods, he's going to get some credit, because he thinks he's in like Schwinn. LBJ, he was not in like Schwinn. She literally just sat there and she told him, you know what? I figured it out. You're the one who leaked the information to my father about our plans. You're the reason why Jake is still hanging on for dear life. You're the reason why our plan to take command out failed. It's you, Russell. She pulled out a gun, LBJ, and she put it right to his forehead, and she said, oh, this is going to hurt. And when he tried to protest, I'm protesting. I'm a big B613 man, but I'm protesting. She pressed on his wound, LBJ. She pressed on it. Oh my gosh, she was ruthless. Oh, it was so good. So good. And what did my mentor say to us last week, Janiyah? He said, Rowan Pope said what he said, and Rowan Pope said, Olivia, the apple does not fall far from the tree. Poison as it may be. I was just like,
Brilliant. And what happened tonight? She pulled a Daddy Pope move.
Yes, she did.
Dr. Hill, PhD 115 says, "Hey, Dr.
LBJ, it's PH done 15. Get it right. PH done. Your reading skills are very poor, but it's D Hill. PH done. Okay, you're welcome. Please continue. You're doing a horrible job.
I'm so used to reading it like it wasn't like PhD something at something. I know that screen name has changed, so forgive me. I'm trying to. The screen name has changed because there wasn't a merging of the two. So now it's D Hill, PH done.
PH done.
Congratulations! You're walking across the stage probably in May, Dr. Hill. It used to be like Dr. Hill 2014. Anyway, back to the subject at hand, folks. She said, "Child, all lives men are kryptonite." Dr. Hill,
they really are.
Well, not tonight, because she slipped out of Alex and went into Olivia because she said to him, he's like, "Alex," she's like, it's Olivia right now. Like, she told him, it's not Alex, it's Olivia.
Yeah, Dan Blakemore said, "I feel like Russell didn't have any real training. # running on a slate of failure." He is, LBJ. Russell, you're doing a horrible job. I mean, we thought that perhaps we hadn't heard of you before because you were super awesome. It turns out that you were probably on the bench because you are the worst B613 that is available. All the good ones work for Olivia now. So there you are, sitting over here, pulled off the bench, and you're failing miserably. This was your big chance to really let Command know that you were super great, and you're failing. You didn't kill Jake once. You didn't kill Jake twice. And now the cat's out the bag. Olivia knows who you are, and now you're in trouble. Russell, # you're the worst.
So wait, they're speaking of Russell hashtags and him being the worst. I think that this is like Slay Russell night because Candace Brown is in the Q&A, and I guess her comment just got bumped down by another person's comment. But Candace is talking about Russell as well. You know, we've got all these kind of hashtags.
Yeah.
Spitting their fire on Russell, and Candace says in the Q&A, she felt like Russell's on the JV squad of B613. What's really going on with Russell in this entire conversation, or this entire storyline of Russell on Scandal? I feel bad for the guy technically because I'm like, dude, you're gonna die. She's like, I feel Russell's on the JV squad of B613. All the varsity killers are dead or retired. Charlie, Huck, etc.
LBJ Deborah Battle said all the good B613s are dead, and that's why they had to work with Russell. Not only, wait, Russell, you're literally selected after the dead people. Like you're just the absolute worst. You're the worst, Russell.
Like they even had an admin coordinator in the office of the Attorney General, 13, and even she was a killer, and we never even knew that girl's name. She just like able to hold a gun. Yeah, wait, Russell hasn't even graduated to a gun, Janiyah. Russell's only carrying knives. Yes. He can't even kill with a scalpel or a hunting knife.
He's horrible.
Yet, Russell, like, come on.
He's horrible. LBJ, I wish that I knew. I should Google how to make a meme, because if I knew how to make one, I would make one with Russell sitting in like a tutoring session with like a book that said B613. like he needs like a B613 tutoring session, because Russell, you're the worst. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Here's another one. So here's the Jackie O 2006. Hey, Jackie O. Haven't seen you in a while. Glad you're here.
Hey, Jackie.
She says, when Liv told two names to close his eyes. Oh, my God.
LBJ, he is christened henceforth now and forevermore as old two names. That's all he is.
So beautiful, like even in the tease for in 2 weeks, like it's so bad. Like he's sitting there all pitiful, bruise on his face and everything. They're like, what is going on? He's like, Oh man, it's so
Oh
bad.
God.
He is the B613 slacker. Like he's the one. He shouldn't even have desk duty. This guy. He should technically be locked up in the bowels of the justice system because they told him too much information. He's like the person who was like you knew that was online in school pledging, but he's like he can wear the letters like outside. I'm like you're not really or whatever. You're not really that. You're not really a B613. You can't sit in the yard and sing the songs at homecoming, can you? Like you're not one of those people, are you? Like you're not a real B613. Like we heard you were online, but did you really cross B613? Like really, what happened? Like really, can you talk about what happened? You know the handshake. You know the handshake. I know you know the handshake, right? Yeah, you're not Alpha Chapter B613. I know you're not Alpha Chapter.
LBJ, no way he is Alpha Chapter. But as I'm sitting here, there is one thing that Russell has over every other B613 person that we have seen. The man is fine. And I think that what Command had to actually do, he had to look into his arsenal and see who could actually seduce Olivia. Who could do it? Who could be the person that could get into Olivia's mind? And you know what? He picked absolutely the right candidate. Russell is beautiful, and he absolutely drew Olivia in. You have to think about this, LBJ. She was duped for a really long time. This was a good couple of weeks, LBJ. And the way that it went down, it absolutely was a situation where she thought she was in the driver's seat. She really thought she had him, LBJ. She thought she had seduced him. So there's something that Russell does right. And let me say, in that part of his mission, he has been effective.
And that's the mission of Alex. You know, that really was his Dan Blakemore. Here's a correction. You talked about the nectar. We had lots of nectar last week. Remember when somebody wanted to be called Alex and she put her finger on his lips and she's like, no, call me Alex.
Yes.
Call me Alex.
Right.
That was a true
LBJ
moment.
LBJ, there was a moment, LBJ, and it was a crucial moment. And this is actually wrapping up the Russell mockery. You know, there was a crucial moment, LBJ, where you know what? All of my evening water drinking got the best of me, and I had to run to the restroom. LBJ, there was an exchange between Command and old Two Names where I love it. It's so good. Thank you, Jackie O. Thank you. There was an exchange between old Two Names and Command, where old Two Names is sitting there. Oh, I know I'm the super worst. You know, what's next? And then Command said the game has changed or something along those lines. LBJ, what was it?
Wait, say it again. I'm sorry. I was really over here like recovering from that laugh. I'm like, oh, that Two Names thing is hilarious.
It's so good. I'm sorry. It's so good. There was an exchange between Command and old Two Names where.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes. Yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Okay, I thought I heard you say that. Wait, is that you calling him old Two Names? So he talks to him. He has this whole debriefing, like, "Hey, this is what's going on again." And Rowan Pope is completely like, he wants to just take him and be like, boy, he referred to him at some point during the show tonight as son. He called him like son. Yes. Like she's trying to take him the role. It's like almost like one day, son, you too can be Command and you can have all the power. Like he's talking to him like
part of the brainwashing. Yeah, that's part of the brainwashing.
It is. Hashtag fatherhood. Hashtag my brother's keeper initiative. Hashtag like y'all are fixing people's lives. Yes. Hashtag follow the sons. Like this is the concept of having follow their sons. B613. So you have Rowan talking to Two Names, and he's like, "Hey, Two Names, like, okay, thank you for this update about Jake Ballard, but let's put that to the side right now. We got to work on the whole Foxtel thing." And everybody's like, "Foxtel, what? Huh? Like, Foxtel? What is Foxtel? Who is Foxtel?" If you asked me,
I do ask you.
So my radar went off immediately upon hearing that, because we know about Remington, we know about all these different like names they give these scandals on Scandal, and or the operations. And to me, immediately, like there is still bitterness in Rowan's heart toward the president of the United States as well as his daughter. So I believe Foxtel is either Olivia or Foxtel is code for the president, and Rowan plans to run roughshod in one of their lives. I don't know. We already that Rowan has started with Olivia because she broke his heart, and instead of spanking her or instead of shooting her in the arm like he did Two Names, Jackie O, you get all the credit for that. Like, we are totally credited for Two Names because we are using Two Name thing. That works.
That's his new name. That's all he has now. His old Two Names.
Yeah, we call him Two Names. So we are. I think that Foxtel is going to be Olivia or the president before the season. Those left. I think we have a 2-week break. We have a week break, and then we're back for another Scandal week after next to figure out who Foxtel is. Because remember, they're going to be teasing. They teased it with Two Names being questioned. What is Foxtel? Who is Foxtel? What's Foxtel? Who is Foxtel?
Yes,
that's what he asked Two Names tonight. He mentioned. He said we've got to work on Foxtel next. That's their next operation.
LBJ, there are so many things that could be Foxtel. You know, one of the things that we've been talking about over the last few episodes is the show wrapping up? Is the show closing storylines? You know what Shonda has just done tonight, LBJ? She has said, oh, no. You don't know when I'm wrapping my show up. You can't guess about when my storylines are winding down. LBJ, she has thrown a new mission out there, Foxtel. It could literally, LBJ, it could literally be anything. It may have nothing to do with the White House. You know, LBJ, it could be some whole other big old thing that Command was planning when he was up fishing over at the creek. LBJ, who knows what it is? This could keep us guessing for forever. This is going to be so great. And LBJ, the next episode, which will be the week after next, that's the season finale. So whatever this Foxtel turns out to be, we're going to have to get some of it in the next episode. LBJ, this is an exciting development.
It is an exciting development, but I do have to say, Janiyah, as you corrected me about Dr. Dunn, the tease said there's only one more episode left until the season finale of Scandal.
Oh, so there's 2 more.
Yes, we got week after next, and then we have an episode after that for Scandal. Goodness. Yeah, Graves is on the 2-hour episode next week, so that gives Scandal. We got to have the funeral for Derek. If you watch Grey's Anatomy, Derek died, and they've got to have a funeral for Derek. That's a 2-hour episode next week to say bye-bye to him.
Oh, my gosh.
Come back the following week for Scandal. Yes, indeed. Do you have takeaways for tonight's episode, Janiyah?
LBJ, yes, I do. I have just one. LBJ, there was a point in the show, and it was when the doctor was asking David Rosen to be his assistant in the surgery room. He said to David Rosen, he said, he basically said, we're going to flip him. He's going to scream, and we're going to flip him anyway. And LBJ, if I could go so far as to attempt to do this accent, he said, we flip, he screamed. I can't do it.
Yeah, eliminate all verbs. And just
I wrote it down. He said, we flip, he screams, we flip anyway. LBJ, it was so good. Because you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the definition of commitment. The definition of commitment is doing the thing you said you were going to do long after the mood you set it in has left you. And I just thought, my gosh, sometimes, you've made a commitment, you made a judgment call, you said you were going to do something. And when it hurts, when it gets hard, when there's resistance, you turn back or you quit or you give up. You know what? Sometimes it's going to hurt, LBJ. Sometimes it's going to be hard, but you have to keep going. It's 2015. Time is flying by. I can't believe it's almost May, LBJ. This year is flying. We don't have any time to waste anymore. We need to keep our commitments. It's time to set goals. It's time to put your money where your mouth is, folks. If you have decided to flip and it hurts, you know what? You got to flip anyway. That's my takeaway, LBJ. What do you have for tonight?
I have we flip, we roll,
we flip. He screams. We flip anyway. So good.
That's so funny. That was a good takeaway, though. My takeaway tonight I have a twofold takeaway. Not even a twofold takeaway. I have a 2-point takeaway. My first takeaway is in the show tonight. We were we met my favorite character again, Quinn Robin Lindsay, Janiyah, who, by the way, oh, don't do it. Don't even. Why are you doing that to her?
Expendable. Hashtag expendable.
Well, you know, the Jackie O is back again. Thank you, Jackie O, 2006. She says, get up off of that thing, Janiyah. Quinn is badass. They need blood for Jake. Quinn's like, let's go, and protecting Jake when she found him, Janiyah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jackie O.
Well,
Quinn, you called that man 2 names.
Let me just say, and this is a Larry and LBJ style catch that I found in the episode, they didn't even give a blood type. They just went and got some blood. I waited for someone to say, oh, negative, something. They dash out to the hospital throwing blood in the bucket. Anyway, but that's what happens when Quinn is in charge of a tactic. She does a horrible job. Anyway, go on with what you were saying. She didn't ask for details. She didn't probe. She didn't probe for important information. Anyway, please continue.
Well, she may not have done that, Janiyah, because maybe, like Russell, dropped out of B613 training. Because we found out tonight that what the man said, Charlie was like, really, Quinn can't do that. He's like, she didn't even qualify for the health plan. My first takeaway, who knew B613 had a health plan? Who knew? I had no clue that B613 had a health plan.
Yeah.
Obamacare, you've got United Healthcare, you've got B613, Blue Cross Blue Shield, HAP. You've got all different providers.
It's a very low deductible.
It's probably 0.
It's 0. Yeah, no copay.
My second takeaway, Janiyah, is something that I'm really stating the obvious, and it's drawn directly from the ending of the scene with Black Sable, Miss Mary Peterson, and we see her, Mary and her grandkids are dead, and Olivia goes back out. By the way, we see Olivia drives a black Mercedes. She was going back to her car, and she goes back to her car to get in, and she hears a telephone ringing, and in the back of her car, in the trunk of her car, there is the dead butcher who was supposed to execute the whole plan.
The handler.
But man, they're the handlers. And the phone's ringing. Olivia goes into the pocket of dead man, pull up dead man's cell phone and answers. And what happens? She hears to my second takeaway from my mentor, Rowan Pope. And he says to her, what have I always told you, Olivia? Against me, you will never win. B613 in your life, you will never win. Against a command in your life, you will never win. That's my takeaways are light tonight. I didn't have a prolific, profound takeaway tonight.
LBJ, they were light, but they resonate. We thank you, LBJ. Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
LBJ, I think it's time for my favorite part of the show.
Round Robin, baby.
It makes me raise the roof. Love it.
Grandma dance at this. At least do the wobble.
That's what me and Mary Peterson do when we go out for drinks. We raise the roof.
while eating Russian spice cake.
Exactly. LBJ, Dan Blakemore, and let me just say, this particular comment in the Q&A got so much support in the Q&A because it is so good. Dan Blakemore said, did you see the look on Sally's cameraman's face when Cy brought up Daniel Douglas? He needed some smelling salts and the church nurse. Hashtag pure comedy. It's so true.
It was definitely pure comedy. Dan Blakemore was on a roll tonight because later in the Q&A, he's talking about the nectar moments and everything, and he was referring to what happened with Fitz and Olivia over the telephone, and he said it was more the brown liquor Fitz was drinking than nectar flowing through that phone line tonight. We're talking about the nectar with Fitz and Olivia.
It's true. I'll take that friendly amendment. D Hill PH Dunn 15 said 2 names is a hot mess. Hashtag stumbling and tripping. He is a hot mess, LBJ.
A big hot mess, but you know who's not a hot mess is that Olivia Pope. Olivia Pope is not a hot mess, even though last week she had the whole post-traumatic syndrome going on with her handshake in the elevator and flashing back to her kidnapping. But D Hill, PH Dunn 15 says Olivia channeled her mama and papa in that last scene. Did I not say that Olivia is her mother and her father? We're going to see more of her mother and her father come out after the kidnapping. I said that. Go back to the episodes, and tonight we got to see it. Thank you, PH Dunn, D Hill.
You did, LBJ. And Candace Brown is having my back. She said, I really feel bad for the Russian lady too, Janiyah. At least she's going to heaven. And that's correct.
Well, that's true. She probably is, because she said she didn't want the blood on her hands. She didn't want to go back out and get into the field.
That's right.
Yeah, I guess she made it in. Glory.
That's right. That's right. Russian cookies for everybody at the pearly gates. It's wonderful.
Wait, Yolanda Baker says, Papa Pope is stellar ninja. Not only killing the family, but stuffing the meat cutter in the truck. No pun intended. He is totally like classic ninja. He is. He is. Without even being the ninja. He is.
Yes. And Idon Matrix says, hi Idon Matrix, said, so someone in Scandalverse is a Russian spy? ? Ooh. You know what? It's just, we keep coming back to this fact that you just literally never know who is sitting next to you, LBJ. If this show accomplishes one thing for America, it will ensure that none of us trust our neighbors. Because you do not know, LBJ, who is KGB, who is B613, Russian spies, LBJ? Scary.
Wait, Janiyah. So it's very scary. But Jackie O is back. And she's giving you credit. Jackie O, you better take your credit and own what you said and what you coin. She said Janiyah made it better than old two names. Call them old two names.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna have two names, you gotta be old. You know.
Yeah, she said two names was fine, but it was in that old. You under that old. That was very good.
LBJ, there's so many good messages in the Q&A tonight.
She's talking about the fried chicken. She said, when I talk about the fried chicken, she said, hashtag granny fried chicken. Yeah, that was totally some granny. I'm not supposed to. I really want some fried chicken now. I think I might treat myself this weekend.
LBJ, somebody had to say it. All this talk about fried chicken, it kind of makes me want some fried chicken.
It does. It really does. Like some good, like not that commercial, fast food fried chicken. I want somebody like to have an iron skillet and melt everything down and then put the chicken inside and slow simmering and boiling it. Yeah, that's the kind of fried chicken I want. Yes.
And Lisa Schmola says, funny thing no one noticed. Hardly think Fitz and Mellie are still sleeping together. ? Or have I missed it? Ooh, I'm telling you guys, there is something going on between Mellie and Fitz. There's something bubbling up. If they're not sleeping together yet, it's on a comeback. That's my prediction.
So are we looking at a situation where they're going to be reunited and it feels so good kind of situation with them, or is it going to be an explosion and they're going to just be done with each other? Like, what's it going to be?
LBJ, time will tell. Janiyah's prediction is that Fitz has a change of heart and realize that, you know what, sometimes you do just need to love the one you're with.
Yes, and speaking of loving the one you're with, Janiyah, we all know that you want to be with one Marcus Walker from Scandalous. Dan called it out, and he says Janiyah's first mention. You mentioned Marcus because I caught Marcus tonight, you guys. Dan heard it too. He's like, Janiyah's first mention of her dream. Hashtag, here we go, y'all.
Yes. Oh, Marcus, you know what? We brought you back with my little pitiful hashtag on Twitter. Hashtag bring Marcus back. I think he came back. And I'm gonna keep him alive in my heart and in my soul, LBJ, because I feel like there is space for our lives. And Marcus, you have a home with us. Hashtag bring Marcus back. And D Hill PH Dunn 15 LBJ has given us right now her prediction for what Foxtel is about. She said Foxtel equals Maya. Whoa!
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about
LBJ is so obvious. Yes. How she's gonna come back, LBJ. She's gotta come back some way.
She has to come back this season. I don't know how she's gonna come back, but I can totally Foxtel.
Somehow she's gonna be wrapped up in that.
That's why you got your PhD done. You got it. You cracked the code.
I think she's right. I do think she's right, LBJ. Let's see. Let's see what happens in 2 weeks. I think she's right.
Man, I really thought it could have been Olivia or the president, but I didn't think of him really taking Maya out. Like, does he really want to take Maya out? I saw them coming together at the end, like, let's come together and unite with a Barack and Michelle, like, arm raised up in the air. Like, you know, like, we're united together in this thing.
LBJ, you know what? This is going to be interesting. I mean, we've been wondering what in the world is happening with Maya. Is she already in cahoots, LBJ? Time will tell.
Time definitely will tell. Oh my gosh, this really has me thinking. Like, really, like it.
LBJ, you know what else time tells? Time tells that it is the end of this chat for tonight.
Absolutely, it's over, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining us for the Scandalous Scandal recap.
So much fun.
Absolutely. There is an event coming up in Washington, D.C. this summer. Go to gladiatorsunite.com to find out what can happen in Washington, D.C. when all the gladiators come together, when people who watch and love House of Cards come together in Washington, D.C. Come to D.C., be with us, hang out, meet the folks that you tweet with, meet the folks that talk on the Scandal Recap and other podcasts and YouTube shows that talk about your favorite TV shows. We'll be there. We hope to see you there. But in the meantime, before we get to the summer event, meet us back here in 2 weeks. Why? Because Scandal will be back with the second to last episode of the season. Thank you all so much for watching. We love you for watching. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.